I have sustained life for millions of years. I am the foundation of every civilization. I store more carbon than all of the world's forests combined. I am the ground beneath your feet. I am the food on your plate. But today, I'm depleted, poisoned, and exhausted. What am I? I am soil. The truth is that as we deplete the soil with chemicals and monocultures, we're also depleting ourselves, the health of humans. Today, up to 70% of the soils in the European Union are already considered unhealthy. Unhealthy soils struggle with climate changes and unexpected weathers, and eventually can no longer grow food at all. This puts the livelihoods of farmers and our food security at risk. As the soil has been stripped of microbes and nutrients, so has our food, and so have we. The health of the soil is a mirror of the health of humanity. So it's no wonder that human health issues are rising and rising. But there's hope, because the soil can regenerate, and so can we. That's the wisdom of nature. When we remember to listen to nature, and when we remember that we ourselves are nature too, we start to find new solutions. We start to be able to find new ways to work with the life that sustains us. In order to create a new food system that thrives on health rather than harm, we need to not only grow food differently, we also need to fund food in a new way. And I'm going to tell you 3 ways we can do that. Today, typical investing is extractive. It focuses on short-term returns, getting as much money back as possible, as quickly as possible, and then moving on. It's a bit like industrial farming: high yield, short time scales, destructive. Even impact investing, which means investing for profit and to do good, while well-intentioned, often plays by the same old rule book, looking for quick returns, exits, and squashing purpose for profit. So let's look at food. Food is a long cycle. There's a long arc in biodiversity, in ecosystem restoration, in community resilience. If we're pushing for short-term returns and quick exits, we're just funding incremental changes in an old, broken system instead of funding real food system transformation. So how can we fund a new way of food? I call this regenerative investing. Regenerative because sustainability is not enough. Sustainability just means sustaining where we're at, and where we're at is a race to the bottom. Regeneration is about giving back more than we take, about giving to the life that nurtures us, so that life can continue to give as we give again, in a never-ending cycle of life, health, and harmony. That's true wealth. So I'm going to share the 3 principles of regenerative investing with you. The first is patience. In nature, we know that it takes time for seeds to grow roots. Trees need years before they bear fruit. The harvest comes just once a year. Agriculture itself is a long cycle system. So how could we fix it with short-term money? Typical investing looks at backing an idea for a short cycle of 5 to 7 years and taking out the money as quickly as possible and moving on. Regenerative investing backs for the long term, building much more resilient companies. funding through cycles of growth and evolution, in alignment with how nature works, with how regeneration works. For example, family-run businesses are often thinking in generations, not just quarters. There's a Brussels-based biscuit company that looks 200 years in the past and 200 years into the future. That is patience, and that is how we can create a new system. We need to see that in investing more. The second principle is protection. Life protects what gives it life, and it protects itself inherently. But in traditional investing, purpose is usually squeezed for profit. Purpose comes below the maximization of short-term profit. In regenerative investing, we protect the mission at all costs. This is called mission guardianship, where there is a legal system in place that makes sure that any investors that come in the future are not able to change that integral mission, that mission that's what the company's all about. Even when the company changes hands or ownership, has new stakeholders later on, the mission remains locked in and protected. My favorite herbal tea company from the UK, where I come from, built on paying farmers fairly and Ayurvedic wisdom, was recently sold to a corporate giant that stripped away the principles and qualities it was founded upon. They were able to do that. They were the new owners. In contrast, there's a Dutch chocolate brand that has created a mission lock, which means that any investors in the future will never be able to take that company away from its original mission of removing slavery from the cacao farming industry. That's mission protection in action. And the third principle is reciprocity. Reciprocity means giving back as we take, in balance. And I'm inspired by the indigenous wisdom: never take the first, never take the last, and never take more than half. In traditional investing, if a company does really well, the returns and profits are siphoned off to faraway stakeholders and investors, taken out of the system that created all of that value. In regenerative investing, we give the excess returns back to the system that created it, back to the value, back to the people, to the lands, to the communities who created all of that extra success. And it's not just about giving the money back to them for their sake. That strengthens the whole chain. That means that the whole value chain that company is built upon can grow and create more resilient returns for everybody in the future. It just makes sense. So when we look at the three principles of regenerative investing, patience, protection, and reciprocity, this is how we can fund a future that thrives with life on Earth, a future that heals instead of harms. But this isn't about giving up profit, and it's important to note that. Money, after all, is just energy, and we need that energy to flow so that we can propel our impact forward. But when we're taking profits today at the cost of life, that's suicidal. When we're nurturing life for now, for ourselves, for our communities, and for generations to come, that's how we create real, true wealth, health, and harmony. So how do we get there? This isn't just a dream, it's a practical path, and it's something we can all get involved with. Investors can start adopting the principles of regenerative investing. Entrepreneurs can demand that the investors that put money into their companies align with these principles, align with their own principles. And citizens, all of us, can make choices with all of the food that we buy or cook or grow that align with what we want for our future of food. Every single choice we make is a vote for what kind of future we want. We can urge policymakers to, instead of rewarding extraction, reward regeneration. And parents can teach their children that when we give back to the soil, we're also giving back to ourselves. When we fund a future of food that lets life on Earth thrive as it's designed to, we create systems that perpetually profit. And this is something that we can all come together to do. When we heal the flow of money, we heal the soil. And when we heal the soil, we heal ourselves. So this is an invitation to all of you, to everybody. Let's redirect the flow of money. Let's make regenerative investing the new normal. And let's fund the future of food. Because the future of food is the future of life. There is no other sector that sits at the nexus of planetary and human health. Let's start with the food. Let's start today. Who's ready? Thank you.